Hey, Seth David here from the world famous Nerd Enterprises Incorporated, and in this edition of Nerd's Guide to the Galaxy, we're talking about how and why I'm back in Slack. Now, I've run the experiment. When Salesforce first announced that they were going to be buying Slack, I got very worried right away and immediately started looking for alternatives because Salesforce is a company that is known for creating software for big companies. I did not expect this was going to be good news for the small business, especially the small businesses who, because they're small and don't have a big budget for big budget application companies like Salesforce, I figured they were going to do something to crush these people. And sure enough, they did. They eventually changed the limits. Used to be you could have up to 10,000 messages. So small businesses, it would take a long time to reach a limit like that, if ever, because they weren't sending a lot of messages. They didn't have big teams. And the fact that you could, within the 10,000 messages, have unlimited, files and everything else pretty much, it worked well. But we have to consider that these companies need to make money. It is a business, so I guess we can't really expect them to make it all free forever. So anyway, bottom line, when they imposed this limit, I immediately said, okay, now I'm really going to abandon every Slack workspace I can. And I moved everything to Discord. I had tried a few others that I also just found they just didn't work well. Many of them, first of all, I think bottom line really, most people are so used to Slack that you try and get them into something else and they're kind of lost. They're like, I don't know where I am. I don't know what to do, right? One that I tried that I thought was really promising because it just had these really nice layouts for like rich text, like you could write articles and things. But the reality is there were too many like dimensions as far as where you could go to access stuff. And I think that got very confusing for people. So bottom line, I've run the experiment. I've figured it out. And I'm back in Slack. And especially what got my attention and drew me back in is that finally now it's been quite a while since Salesforce bought Slack. And another thing that had concerned me along the way was everything I was reading, all the original Slack employees were abandoning ship, including the CEO himself, the guy who had been CEO of Slack, no longer works for Salesforce. So I was like, I don't know what's going on there, but it doesn't look good. So now fast forward, it's been a couple of years now, I think, and they start sending announcements out explaining that they're rolling out some new features. So we've got a brand new interface, and we've got some other really interesting new features that have just recently come out. So this kind of drew me back in, as in, it looks like Slack is making some moves here, and now that they are, probably making a lot more money since they reduced those limits on free accounts, so I'm sure a lot more people just, sucked it up and said, we're going to just pay for it. Bottom line, I love when an app actually clearly uses the money they're charging to improve the app. And that's what we're starting to see happen now. And frankly, when I was in Discord, there were a lot of things about Slack that I really missed. There were just features in Slack because Slack caters to the business use case, whereas Discord was built more for gamers. So there are things that gamers don't care about that we who need the business use case do. One of the biggest things that pops up to mind, and this is just me, this is my weirdness, but in Slack you can click on a person's name and you can see their email address. And it's really clear and obvious, who's who in terms of users in Slack. Whereas Discord, I can put Mixelplix as my name and you'll never know who I am unless I choose to reveal it to you. So bottom line, that's just one example, but there are a lot of little things about Slack that I missed after spending most of this year in Discord. So we're back. We're back in Slack. And now I just want to show you a couple of the highlights that I see in terms of why I'm back in Slack and what I really like about what they're doing with the new interface. So on my screen here, you're seeing my brand new Guide to the Galaxy community. I've got that set up in Slack now. As of this recording, it's brand new. So this is, you'll see invites. You'll see an invite in the very write-up for this article where you can come in and join it. It's free. I'm inviting people to come in. And for example, if you have questions about this very recording and write-up, then we have this channel here called GTTG, Guide to the Galaxy Articles, where you can come in and ask me questions, or I'd love to have you even come in here and tell me what your takeaways were. Tell me what you liked or learned about any article or video that I've done. If there happens to be a lot of buzz about one particular thing I've written, then I'll carve out a new channel for that. There's also a channel here called Apps Slack, which of course is, I'm using the apps prefix. You can see I've got one for Notion so far too. Again, not a lot in here yet because it's all brand new. But bottom line, if you want to learn how to use Slack or learn better, then you come in here and you ask your questions, and I'll interact with you. And as the community grows, others will hopefully interact with you as well. So that's the idea. I've even started it off with a couple of videos that I've done on Slack to help people learn right off the bat. Some really cool features. A lot of people may not know this, but you can actually forward emails to Slack. It goes into your Slack bot, and then once it's there, you can share it into a channel so you can discuss it with other people in that channel. But let's talk about some of the new features. First of all, you might recognize right away that the layout, the colors, the interface here, it's different, right? That's one of the big new rollouts is brand new interface with Slack. Now, here's the thing. I haven't seen the new interface roll out to any existing Slack workspaces. In the last few days, I've created a couple of new workspaces, and all the new ones clearly are now getting it. I'm guessing they're going to roll out the new interface to existing Slack workspaces, after probably testing it and making sure that it doesn't, sort of screw anything up. Imagine that. Imagine a software company that actually tests very well before they roll out new features to make sure they don't screw things up. So bottom line, if you create a brand new workspace, you'll be looking at the new interface. If you have an existing one, it may not be in the new interface just yet. So right off the bat, notice the navigation. It's a bit simpler on the left, right? When I hover my mouse over it, you can see all these other workspaces I belong to, right? But this kind of keeps you, I read that their intention here was to make it better for focus, right? To reduce the number of distractions. And that's what it does. And as you can see, you might have just seen I had a notification pop up from one of those other channels. So right now, it only shows me the icon for the channel that I'm in. But that notification, that number 1 right there, is letting me know, since I can tell it's not from anything going on in this particular workspace, it's letting me know that there's a new notification in one of my other workspaces, okay? So again, it's better for focus. It lets me concentrate. And of course, you can go into the settings and set up your notification preferences. We just go right here to preferences, and under notifications, you can choose exactly how Slack behaves, what it notifies you about, when it notifies you. You can set your schedule to only notify you during certain times of day. You can change the sound or tell it to not make a sound, right? I could have sworn I had changed this to boing. That's just my preference, right? You don't need to save when you change the preferences. It's all just, updated as soon as you make a change. Now, one of the highlights that I do want to show you here while we're here are the themes, right? So themes, you might have played around with the old themes in the old interface, same idea, but here they have a lot more choices, and frankly, I think some of them are pretty slick looking, right? So you can see I've got mint chip selected. That's always been my favorite flavor of ice cream. So bottom line, I would say take the time, because presumably you're going to spend some time in an app like this. If you're using it for communications, then you're in it all day. Take the time to make it appealing. Take the time to make it a place that kind of feels like home, right? So that's one of the big changes is the interface. And again, I would highly recommend you take the time to, browse through it and figure out what you like and what you don't like. The other thing that is new, and this has already rolled out to existing Slack workspaces, is the Canvas feature. So I'm here in the Slack channel. Let me go to General. And while I'm in General, if I click this little guy right here, it says Notes, To-Dos, Resources, and More. Now every conversation has a canvas. So each channel gets its own canvas. It's kind of like a very scaled-down Notion inside of Slack. As you can see, they've got some basic templates for you to get started with, right? But you can do a blank page, and you can just start typing something. This is my canvas, right? And if I just type anything else, then you can see it's very Notion-like, where each of these is like its own block, and I can click and drag to move them around, right? So again, it's pretty, and I can add a comment on a particular block. So it's pretty, like I said, scaled down, but it's clear it's, at least going in the direction of being very sort of Notion-like, right? So you have like a notepad for each of these channels. But what if you want to create a canvas that's got nothing to do with a particular channel? No problem. We'll just go to More, and right here is Canvases. Notice while I'm here, this is where you can go to Access Files, Automations, which is new, and then of course you can browse channels here, and you can browse people, okay? So let's go to Canvases. And so I've got two. I've got the canvas for admin general that we were just looking at, and I'd created this one off recording, just playing around. And so when I click that, it actually opens up in another window. I'll drag it over here. And here it is. This is my canvas. There are many like it, but this one is mine, right? And so here you can see I've created little to-do like checkboxes. Down here, you've got some tools. I can put an emoji in there, right? Let's get a little nerd guy in there. And then over here, I can say plus, and look at that. I can record a video clip or an audio clip, or I can add a divider and then add more stuff, right? So what I would say to you, as I always say to people when it comes to learning how to use a new part of or a new tool within the tool, is take the time, if need be, schedule the time to go play around in here and learn everything that it can do, right? A lot of this is going to be pretty straightforward, right? Accessibility, or I can delete it, right? So play around with your options, learn how to use it. You're not going to break anything, right? If you want to make sure you don't mess with an existing canvas, because let's say somebody else created it, then just create a new one of your own, call it test, right? Call it Seth test, or don't use my name, use your own name, but you get the idea. So play around with canvases. It's really cool, and you can probably already figure out how this can become really handy as far as collaborating with people in a Slack workspace and having the ability to create documents that you can share without having to go outside of Slack to share like a Google Doc or whatever. This doesn't mean Google Docs and their use case with Slack is going to go away, but I think this might take a few processes away from Google Docs that are just better suited for working directly in Slack and something like this. Now, the home button here, of course, takes me back to the main home screen, and I'm back to what I'm used to seeing, right? So that's what we talked about canvases. I talked about the new interfaces, and I talked about the themes. So those are the highlights as far as I can tell as far as new features rolling out. But this is all fairly new, so my guess is they have more tricks up their sleeve. I did see an email recently from them where you could get on a recording of a webinar about their roadmap. I haven't had a chance to watch the replay. I'm curious about that. Of course, once I've had a chance to look at that, I will post a follow-up video and let you know if there are any other new features coming down the line that look exciting or interesting to me. But that's it, my friends. That's what I've got for you so far. So again, join my Nerd's Guide to the Galaxy community in Slack. It's completely free. I hope to build a community here where I can provide free resources to people who, for whatever reason, aren't ready to or just don't want to join a program like 97 and up. You can come in here and, we'll help each other for fun and for free as much as we can. And that's about it. So this is the place to go. If I was normally I would say you know where to find me, but I'll say it again. You know where to find me, but this is the place to find me if you want to ask questions. Unless you're in 97 and up, then you should stick with that workspace there because you're already in that community. So that would be the right place for you.